All right. So with that out of the way, my name is Saurabh Gupta. This is my older photo. I am one of the co-founders of GPTfy and Cloud Compliance. We are a Salesforce AppExchange ISV partner. So we are a product company. I used to work at Salesforce. I was there for about 6, 7 years. My role is enterprise architecture. That's my background. And I'm based in Chicago. And here are some of the logos of some of our customers. And basically, we evolved out of data security and privacy. So cloud compliance has been in business for about 5 years now. And it was born out of building solutions specifically for GDPR, CPRA, TAN spam, those kind of things. And so our initial emphasis was more on right to be forgotten data, portability, data retention, data masking, some consent management, things like that. But about 15, 18 months ago, just when Chat GPT
Hi,
did, I'm sorry, was it?
go ahead, sorry.
All right. So just about, 10, 15, 18 months ago when Chat GPT debuted, customers were going, well, we are going to ban Chat GPT everywhere because we are very worried about it from a security standpoint. And that pulled us into this. So we are fundamentally a data security company that built an AI product that can be run exclusively on Salesforce. That's the gist of what we do and who we are. Jumping into what we're going to talk about, we'll show a lot of demos. I'm an engineer by trade, so I love more demos and less slides. I'll try to get through the slides very quickly and show you some real stuff. But I do want to talk about what is the typical challenge that customers have with generative AI. And if you work for a company that is a Salesforce customer, then this may resonate with you. If you are a consultant, you may have been on the other side and you may still go, why are these people pushing back? And it may resonate with you from that standpoint. We'll take a look at some of the demos of how you could write custom emails, do what we call a deal coach, account 360, like a bunch of different things that you could do in sales and service, and point you to some resources if you'd like to understand, learn more. And we can do Q&As. In this group, we can do Q&As as we go on. So please do interrupt when you need to. With that out of the way, this is a slide we borrowed from Salesforce, the mothership. And some version of it is true, though, right? A vast majority of people, particularly in sales, end up spending a lot of time not selling. And those are expensive people to not be selling. It is a similar story in support, although support over the years has become a lot more regimented, a lot more standardized in most places. But sales has this significant problem. I have seen it places where account executives are spending more time on pipeline analysis and preparing, reports for their senior management than actually spending time with customers. So this has been a challenge for a while. And we were going, well, AI can help us solve this, right? These days, AI can solve everything. And what we found is that AI, generative AI in particular, is really, really good at automating repetitive tasks. It's good at summarizing and generating emails, and it's really good at pulling insight from text and files. Those are three areas. So when you think about generative AI, you can think about it from that standpoint across the board. Anywhere you want to deal with any of these things, you're like, well, how can I apply generative AI? That's the kind of thinking that we arrived at after doing research, playing around with it. One of the things we also wanted to do was we also wanted to figure out how can you use AI in a very, very lightweight format without spending millions of dollars on it, and actually present it to your end users where it is not distracting, to give them yet another co-pilot to ask questions from, to continue to bombard with notifications. We live in a very noisy world, and we wanted to see how we can do this differently. But if you are working at one of those companies that has Salesforce, you run into this cute little brick wall really quickly. AI can be complicated, AI can be expensive, and really, if you want to bring it to Salesforce, you probably have to spend a fair bit of money on development, on maintenance, or you'd buy a vendor product. You may have to buy pretty expensive licenses. And a lot of the things that are shown in demos like these are all on roadmap. And we ask this question of ourselves, how can we do this better? We are a product company. So these are areas that we particularly want to help our customers avoid. But before I go further, I want to highlight back a little bit about the customer life cycle of AI, and then I'll talk about the challenges with it. This is an example of a typical B2B life cycle of a customer. B2C is slightly different, but fundamentally, this is the process most of the world follows when it comes to selling, right? You have some outreach, you may have demos, you may do proposals, you may negotiate, close a deal, onboard customers, give them support, invest in their success, and hope that they renew and you can upsell and cross sell. Every company in the world, every business in the world does some variation of this. And the things that you see down under, whether it is generating email draft, summarizing opportunities, doing white space analysis, summarizing cases, root cause, sentiment, any and all of these, some version of this happens in every company today, and it completely happens manually. That's just the way it is today, right? And there's a significant cost, delay, lack of standardization that all of this entails. These are example of use cases that we solve today. And everything that you see here is stuff that we do today. It's not a roadmap item. This is all on our product. And the idea is that you can utilize this technology in this product and you can help grow revenue, boost productivity, do all the good things that AI claims to be doing. Similarly, on the support side, if you're dealing with Service Cloud or if you have support operations, this is kind of the life cycle that we've arrived at. You want to do case deflection. Best cases are the ones that never get created. If they get created, how do we automate resolution and things like that? And what do we do after a case is resolved, right? So integration with chatbots, integration with knowledge bases, whether they are in Salesforce or third-party data store, PDF, HTML, Word, Excel, whatever. How do we do intelligent analysis of email to case? Email to case is notorious because you've gotten an email as a case now that you have no context, what product, what functional area. Is it billing? Is it technical? You don't know. It's just an email. So how do you deal with that? How do you analyze these cases? How do you determine sentiment on it? How do you do intent analysis? How do you route it intelligently to the appropriate case queue based on language, based on region, based on product, based on functional area, things like that. And how do you integrate this with knowledge base so you can automatically, bring a resolution and update it on the case, maybe send it automatically or maybe show it to a rep and the rep can decide if this is the right resolution. They can click a button and send it. And once you're done with all of this, how do you do a root cause analysis? How do you re-engineer processes? How do you take that RCA and actually prioritize the defects that it's going to solve? Particularly if you're a product company, that is a pretty hairy problem to deal with. All of this happens mostly in most companies in isolation from product management, like to basically run analytics and know what caused the 5,000 cases you had last month and what product feature or customer enablement or knowledge article or video can resolve that is anecdotal in most companies. You don't have enough data-driven intelligence. So that's kind of the life cycle of these two things. I'm going to show you a bunch of them. Any questions or comments on what you're hearing so far?
I think it's, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, a little bit faint, but I can. Sure, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, we're having a little bit of a hard time hearing you in some parts. So
Okay.
that there's an adjustment you can do with your mic a little bit, but it's all sounding pretty, from a content perspective, very clear.
Okay. Is this any better? I've just pulled the mic closer.
Yeah, just hold the mic a little closer and then we can hear you a bit more clearly.
Okay. And I can probably try to speak a little bit louder. I can definitely do that. Let me do that.
Thank you.
Sure. All right. So basically coming back to the challenge that we were talking about, that AI is expensive and can be distracting and all of that. We wanted to take the approach of the Panama Canal, right? The idea that you don't have to have a ship cross the entire continent to get on the other side. And the idea is that your CRM and your AI can be integrated with a really lightweight yet very enterprise grade solution. That's what we think of what we do at GPTfy. Our intention, as you'll see in the UI in a minute, is also to keep it very distraction free and easy to use. We can set up our customers in an hour and they can go live in weeks. You may hear these kind of claims from every vendor. In our case, a part of it is true that we can take you live in weeks. The part that is not so accurate is most customers don't have their requirements figured out. So they spend longer time figuring out their use case and requirement than it actually takes for us to configure the product and take them live. The third part of this is, as I mentioned earlier, like a little bit of my history, right? We are a data security company, so everything we do is 100% native. So it runs in your Salesforce environment, and we've built fairly enterprise-grade security. So the trust layer that you may have heard from Salesforce, we built that actually way earlier than them, and we support a lot of other security related features. Another notable area where we are very different from AI Cloud or any other offering that you may be looking at is that we are a bring your own model solution, which means the AI or the LLM that this data goes to is yours. You can have that AI or LLM on Microsoft Azure, on Amazon Web Services, on Google Cloud, on premise. We don't really care. You can have it wherever you like, whatever region, whatever vendor, whatever technology, as long as it supports certain standards. For us, it's a REST API call to some LLM somewhere. So because we don't own the LLM that this is running on, because we don't own the data center of your Salesforce instance, your everything is running completely in your control. You can lock down the security to your heart's content. You can put zero retention on the LLM side, and we can tell you how to do those things. But the idea is that every customer that we are working with finds a lot of solace in the fact that they don't have to trust us. We believe in the don't trust me model. You can trust the architecture, the design, you can validate for yourself. You have all the controls in this environment. So that's kind of what we do. Is a little bit more on architecture, and then I think we can jump into the demo. So basically, from an architectural standpoint, this is what we do. This is Salesforce, this is GPTfy and AppExchange security approved package. This little dotted purple, line is your Salesforce periphery. Everything is running inside this. GPTfy include and Salesforce, right? So we are pulling data from your object, standard custom managed package, and or external objects, whatever you have. We can mask all the data, the PII, PHI, whatever you want us to mask, and we can send it to, the LLM of your choice. You can connect to multiple LLMs, different models, different temperature, use, most cost-effective, most efficient strategy for your solutioning. So that's what we are all about. Any questions or comments on anything you've heard so far?
I have a question. You emphasize on the security wise, like you mentioned, the data is without the data process within the cloud, like basically whenever it's received, like so basically there is like no changing hand, like based on my understanding, like for example, like in Canada, right? Like some company they want their data stay within Canada, and the data won't be transferred to any other country. Like even though the server may be changing hand depending on the transition.
Mm-hmm. You're correct. The data remains in your infrastructure. So it is either your Salesforce org or your LLM instance. You can choose to decide where that LLM will be provisioned. So if you don't want your data, for example, to leave Canadian borders, you can have your LLM in Canada. You can have it with AWS or Azure or Google Cloud, and you can basically tell them to put it in their Canada location. You can do that. I know certain countries, and Australia has some regulations around data residency. China definitely has them. Europe has some. So if you have to deal with those, you can have this part of it, this LLM side of it on the right hand side. You can have them wherever you like. That is a choice you make. From our standpoint, we don't operate a data center. So your information never, ever comes to us. So we have no access to your data. We are just the people making this little widget here that lets your Salesforce play nicely with LLMs and do all the magic that I'm going to show you shortly. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, thank you.
All right, so we're going to do a bunch of demos. So let's dive right into it. Let's start with a lead writing custom email, like a very sort of classic simple demo. Let me go there. So I'm on a lead record here. And what you see is this little box that you see here is GPTfy.
Can you make your screen a little bigger?
I can definitely do that. How about now?
Wow, perfect.
Okay, cool. So this little box here is GPTfy. In our most recent release, this is actually even shorter than what it looks here. And the whole idea is we kind of stepped away from a co-pilot type design where your end user has to ask questions. We just feel that's like not a great idea. It reminds me of Clippy, the Microsoft thing. That was there a long time ago. But the intent is that, out here, I have all of these little prompts. These are prompts that are pre-configured by the technology team, right? So you can have someone who's pre-configured, tested all of this. So your sales reps, support reps, they can just come pick something here and they can run it. If you want them to type their own thing here, we support that, but that is not our de facto model. Again, very, very distraction free. So when I select this and I click run GPTfy, it's pulling data from this lead record, any other related child, grandchild type records, lookup values, whatever. Based on what I have configured, I'm going to send specific fields out of this Salesforce org to an LLM. And AI is going to look at that, kind of generate an email and send it back to me. Now, this is a very, very simple example. What is interesting here is that it wrote an email and it specifically mentioned aerospace and defense industry. And if you look at this lead, maybe somewhere it does say that, I think. So there it says aerospace and defense. So we are able to pick that and do that. So again, this is a very simple demo, but the idea is we actually are building capabilities to ground it into the style of writing of the end user. So if you always write, best and I write kind regards and someone writes differently, AI can actually determine because we will start sending, certain amount of additional information, or you can. Today we are not. This is just a very plain vanilla out of write an email. Here's the data. I'm going to give you a little bit of under the hood look of how this works. And then it's the same idea for all the other demos. Some of them are more advanced demos, right? So I'm going to click on this button here, link here. And what you will now see is how this information was processed. So this is the prompt I sent, right? It's like, hey, write me an email, avoid any unnecessary information, blah, blah, blah. I have some information here, right? This is the data extraction that happened. This was the data I pulled. In this case, it's very limited data. The next I'll show you has probably a heck of a lot more. And this is the response we got back from AI, right? It tells me how many tokens it used, some filters and all of that. And it gave me a response. And that's the response we processed. And that's the response we showed here. Now I can click on this button here. It's now in my clipboard. I can go paste it in my Gmail, my Outlook, if I use those for sending emails. I can click on this and create a task out of it if I wanted to assign it to somebody else, and they can basically, do whatever needs to be done here. If you use email out of Salesforce, you can click on this and you can automatically have it populated and you can kind of, send out this email if that's what you wanted to do. So those are some very sort of simple examples of what it does. What I'm going to do next is show you a little bit more sophisticated of a prompt so that you get a flavor of what it can actually do. So I'm on this account record, and what you'll see here is this account is pretty busy, right? We have a bunch of opportunities here of things that we are doing with them. There's some cases, some contacts. There is some external objects, some subscription, some custom objects. So there's like a bunch of things going on here. And it has a lot of activities. Now, the challenge is if I pull one of these activities, you'll see it has a lot of notes in it, right? So there's this notes on what happened, there was a meeting, all of that, right? Whatever. And this is very typical if you use Zoom, and Zoom now has an AI summarization feature. So it will give you nice notes, but they are still pretty large, notes. And an hour-long meeting will generate a note like this. The challenge for salespeople is if I am asked to give this account to somebody else, they have to come in and they have to spend quite a bit of time understanding what has happened with this account, right? So if there was a territory realignment, the new rep has no idea what happened here. The other challenge is if I have to do a pipeline review call with my boss and he's going to be like, what's happening at Gaslume? Tell me about this opportunity. Tell me about this account, right? So I have to prep for it. So what we did is we created this account 360. And when I click on this to run it, it's pulling a lot of information on this account, related opportunities, related activities, related cases, sending it all to AI. It's going to come back with information. In this, what I will also show you is that some of that information we configured for masking. So we will scrub out some things like account name, some simple things. But the idea is that you're able to see how this is going to pull all the information from a large number of objects, bring it back, do some analysis on it. Now, what you see here is, it's given me like a summary, it's looked at it and figured out some objections where there were any, and figured out some next best action. Similarly, on the case, it's got a summary and it's got a sentiment. Now, these don't exist as is in Salesforce. There is no summary, at least in my org, there is no summary that was manually entered for this, or objection or next best action. There is no summary for case, no sentiment. So the idea with all of this stuff here is that we sent AI a whole bunch of data. Let me show you how much data we sent, right? So if I go back here, I go here, and what you will see is, and this is kind of what we masked. We masked some names and replaced them, some phone numbers. And again, this is not fully configured. Otherwise, we can mask everything. But you look at the sheer amount of data in either one of these, right? There is a lot of information that was sent for opportunity, for case comment, related activities, right? So all of this information was sent to AI, and AI crunched it and got us back this response that we were looking at. So we calculate how much time, it would take a human if you were reading at, I forgot, 50 words per minute. It would take you a lot of time. And so this is the time we saved somebody, about 10 minutes. It would take someone 10 minutes at least, or more, because we subtract the amount of time we were waiting while AI did all this. So probably about 11 or 12 minutes at a minimum, it would take for someone to look at this account, read all the related information from the activities that have happened, the opportunities, the cases, and what's the state of this account. Now you have the ability to actually do this really quickly, and we automate all of this out of the box. So if you want, it can run automatically anytime a new account is created, anytime a new activity is added, and re-summarize this information. So that is an example of what we call an account 360 or a customer 360 that you can do. Any questions or comments on what you're looking at here?
I have a quick question. How does this handle, I guess, two questions maybe. Because I saw you had the merge field, so you send prompts based off the values you have in your CRM. How does it handle situations where maybe those values aren't present, right? So maybe sometimes I have records that don't have some of those values. And then the second question is, could this be configured to work with custom objects? I imagine you have to like define what the object is, but I'm not sure if this is only standard right now.
Oh, great questions. I'm sorry, sir, what's your name?
Oh, it's Mike, sorry.
Mike, yeah, excellent question. I'm glad you asked. And it's a great segue into what I was going to show anyways. So let's dive into what happened actually there.
Okay.
So I'm going to click on this AI prompt, and I'll show you what we call a prompt builder. So on the left here, you see I have this whole prompt, and this is like, while it's a bigger prompt because of what we are trying to output, it's actually plain English, right? Most of it. It's not programmatic. You've not written any Apex to do this. And that's the thing that we worked really hard to make this thing 100% declarative, right? And in this, I can actually ground the Salesforce data. So I can specifically mention, hey, show, this 3 curly braces, task description, task ID, that kind of stuff. So I have the ability to be extremely specific. That's what's happening on this side with the prompt, right? On the right-hand side, you can see my data context mapping, the data that I'm going to send to AI. So what you see here is I have account, I have, if it was a parent-child account type situation, I have child accounts underneath it. There are tasks, I have cases, I have case comment, I have opportunity and task. So I can go here on account and click on this and do add related object. And this is going to pull all the objects from the metadata of my org. So it's got standard objects. It will have custom objects. It will also have external objects. If you use external objects, the Lightning OData connector to bring external data into Salesforce. So we support all of that. Like this is external object here. And we are now building compatibility for Data Cloud. So we will start showing Data Cloud objects in one of our upcoming releases as well. So here is a custom object for subscription_C, right? So the idea is that, we are able to select any of the objects that we want that can be related to account, whether through a parent child or through a lookup. And then I can go to the next level. So if I wasn't here, if I was at opportunity, then I can go ahead opportunity and add the next layer down from opportunity. So I can bring in all these other additional objects that are related to this. Once I have mapped all the objects that I'm interested in, I can pick the fields that I'm interested in. So I can go here and I can hit on field mapping. And what you start to see is these are all the fields again pulled from metadata. And for account name here, I just said, hey, mask this entire value. So we will not send account name. We will send company one, right? AI doesn't care. And this is how we can make sure that your any sensitive data, if you have social security number or taxpayer identification number, or whatever the Canadian equivalent is, I'm sorry, I don't know, or driver's license, passport number, email, date of birth, whatever it is that you don't want to send to your LLM, you can mask it. Again, natively built in Salesforce. It supports regular expressions, regex or patterns. So you have IP addresses, MAC addresses. If you have your own unique pattern, maybe you make, I don't know, cameras and you have, like device number or something, or, machine numbers, whatever formats you have that you want to mask, you can generate your own and do all the masking. So these are all the fields on the account object. But one of the things you may just want here is you're like, I want the name of the sales rep associated with this account, right? So I can even go further and I can hit on add related fields. And then I can start looking at fields. So I can pick the owner of this account. And from the owner, I can pull all the related fields, right? I can pick the sales rep's first name, last name, alias, whatever is in here, I can start picking them. So very, very flexible in terms of the information that you want to map. And once you map it, we will send all of it to LLM. And then when you're writing the prompt, you can actually embed these in the prompt as well. All the prompts are version controlled. So, we save all the prior versions of it so that if you did something doesn't work, you can always go back to a prior version. So we've tried to build this extremely comprehensively so that it basically lets customers do what they want to do pretty much all declaratively. Does that answer the question? Are there other follow-up questions from this that I can?
Yeah, that's it. But in terms of like, again, one of those fields we're missing, would it like halt the process or would it just work around it?
When you say missing, you mean there's no value in that field?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, we don't send that then. We only send values matter.
And the prompt about it. Okay, gotcha. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you.
And there's a reason for that. Like we are trying to be conscious of how many, how much amount of data we send to AI because it's using tokens to process it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So if there's no value, we will not send that.
Makes sense. Okay.
I have questions.
Yes.
Mr. Kevin,
So I'm looking at, I had to move so I could actually read this thing. So like, for example, I see your prompt command and I see generate 3 HTML tables. So is that coding that the system built itself, or did you build that? Like table 1, we want to show this. Like, can you sort of discuss that?
Sure. Let's edit this. So I just deactivated so we can edit it. So this is the sort of edit mode. I can write whatever I would like to write here. So one of our customer had a similar requirement. So we wrote this, right? So I could have just said, hey, give me a summary or give me whatever. And prompts can be plain English. There is definitely an art and a science to prompt engineering. You can have them very, very sophisticated, or you can have them very, very simple, right? So now I'm in here. I can just keep going with this and I can say, do not add this, do not do this, summarize in this, and I can go and add if I have any additional instructions, right? Or I could go and say, here, in addition to this and this, I want to show something else. So I would just go here on the merge field. I will go to task here and then go task merge field subject, for example. I can copy this from here and then I'll go back here to this thing and I can, oops, sorry, I don't know why this is being jumpy. So I could have just added this here. So I can embed this. So really, when you're writing a prompt, it's a combination of 2 things. It's a combination of mapping information so that AI can understand what you want it to do. And it's a combination of kind of writing this out in a manner where it actually is going to give you the result that you're looking for. It is a bit of trial and error to get it right, but not super complex. This is because it's trying to draw an HTML table. That's why you see some HTML in it. But if I show you, some other prompt, you will not see any of these things in there. Did I answer the question that you had?
Sort of, but, I'm still totally confused. So let's take, generate 3 HTML tables with borders. And then it says table 1, you want to, now, did you put that, table 1 opportunity show all?
I
Or
did. Yes, someone on my team did. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't understand. Are you asking, do they have to be manually written? Is that your question?
No, I'm just trying to understand, how you did this, like, the left-hand side.
Mhm.
Are you generating that like
No.
a query, or are you
No.
just working on that?
Manually writing it. I manually wrote, somebody on my team manually wrote this prompt. Tried it 50 times, got it right, and then we released it basically.
That's sounds like that's a job like for like called a prompt engineer.
Yeah, really.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Correct.
Can we ask prompt to build a prompt?
You actually could. We actually looked at adding that feature. It's called meta prompting.
Yeah.
You can ask AI to write prompts for you. And we wanted to add that as a feature, but frankly, nobody's asking it today. And we had,
Except for that.
Just tell them.
I'm serious. I'm not making. Yeah, you could. And we do that, right? Internally, when we are working with customers, we do some prompting ourselves. Then we, use AI and say, hey, help me write this prompt, do this, do that. You can do that with mocked up data all day long. And then, because ultimately you want to get something that's going to work. Doing prompt engineering requires a mix of 2 skills. One is extremely good knowledge of your internal data model and what do things mean. Because on your custom object, you may have a field which is called attrib 44. Like nobody knows what that means, right? Your business may have a meaning for this. You may have a display label, but when you are sending it to AI, AI cannot decipher that. It understands what first name means. It doesn't know what attrib 44 means. So on this, I can actually, one of our customers, we are doing that now, is we put a field here, and then we actually put a description of what is included in this field. We tell AI, hey, this field contains information about blah, blah. We provide that business context. So yes, writing prompt is definitely a skill. Takes a bit of getting used to. The good news is it's nowhere as hard as, writing JavaScript or Apex or C++ or anything programming related. I think it's closer to being, your ability to search effectively on Google than it is to actually writing programmatic languages. Does that answer the question?
Can we take one example, because I'm still somewhat confused. So let's go back to the very first.
I'm going to take a simple example then. Let me just not take something that's so complicated that, this is actually a pretty advanced prompt. Let me just go to prompts and pick up, I don't know. I'm going to pick here.
Or you even have a custom object to store all the prompts.
Yeah. Let me actually just generate an email is a good prompt to go with. I'm just say. Oops. Draft an email, right? So this is a simple prompt, right? Right. Like this is a prompt. That is what the prompt would look like. Does that answer the question? Like this is a prompt. Cool.
So Saurabh, when you build the prompt and you ask a question, like going back to the complicated one, the objection, for example, that objection column, are you pulling data from an object within the CRM?
No, LLM is generating it.
That's LLM then. Okay.
AI is generating it. AI reads everything and it goes what it's trying to figure out what looks like an objection
What a
to it.
possible objection could be. Okay. So could you, if I was collecting objections within the CRM with a client and working on, you know, could you direct the, I guess, the AI to collect data from that internal database or area?
I did not understand the question.
Or if I'm collecting objections from a client, like they have constraints on budget, they've told me that.
Mhm.
I've entered that into the client file. I'm
Mhm.
collecting data on that specific client. They've told me specific information. Can the AI or the tool collect from that area? So I'm just, is my question clear or
No,
not?
it's not.
Okay. I guess I'm just, well, you answered it. First one is, it just creates the
But do you wanna
The content.
collect this for future?
Yeah.
use or-
Well, I'm just saying
Is
as
it
a, from a
collector to
sales,
use it?
sales perspective, yeah, I'm collecting information
But now you wanna use
and it's in my database somewhere. And now I want to analyze that information that I've already collected. So can I steer?
Yeah, then you would map it here, right? In your context mapping,
Yeah.
you would map that object, that specific field.
Yeah.
And I could come here and on this one, I would say, for example, if I go to opportunity.
Yeah.
And let me just pull, I'm going to say description, right? I'm going to copy this and I can actually go ahead and say,
Right, okay.
So something like this, like literally that would be my prompt.
Perfect. Okay, so it has the ability to do that.
Yeah, think of AI as like a smart person that you're talking to, except that they have no idea about your business.
Yeah, yeah.
Like that's literally what this is. Like if you sat them down and spent some time telling them about your business and your unique problem, then and they're listening with undivided attention. So then they can go, oh yeah, you want to do this, right? So that's exactly what AI is. And all we are doing is we are providing it enough data context and enough of what do we want out of it. So prompt is a command. You're saying, hey, write me a letter, do this. By the way, look at these pieces of information.
Would be ideal, yeah, but that to me, from a sales perspective, would be ideal. Because we're collecting all this customized information, right?
Mhm.
And collecting it, and then we want to be able to analyze it, keep up with it.
Mhm.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can you go back to that one example, that simple one? You still got me confused.
So I'm going to show you one prompt that I think is really interesting from that perspective. We call it a deal coach, and that is the same thing that what you were just describing, right? So this is for figuring out like sales, evaluating a deal and giving coaching on what do I need to do here next. What can you do differently? So it's going to evaluate the entire thing based on the sales stage somebody's in, based on the the industry somebody is in, based on the amount associated with this, based on the best practices that you may have, based on a lot of different things, right? So you can have all of this, and essentially what it can do is if I go to an opportunity here and run this against, I don't know, there's someone, yeah, this is interesting. So if I run it against this one and I go to my deal coach and I run this, so basically it's going to crunch through everything and apply whatever best practices you have encoded in the prompt. So if you have best practices around what industry to sell to, right? Maybe I'm selling like $1 million deal and I have my contact role and opportunity is a summer intern. Like there's a very little chance that will get, that deal is going to close, right? So it can look through all of that data, every facet of it, and actually offer you feedback on what is, what's happening, what's not happening, right? In this case, it's kind of looked at all this data because I have a really long prompt that has all of these things. And it's like, hey, we are, this is what it's finding. And these are all things that we wrote in the activity, right? They were logged emails or activities or meeting notes. And it's saying, hey, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this. Here is the score it thinks because of, what's happened. Here is kind of the planning that it thinks you can do. The beauty of all of this is that this knowledge is not going to come from a vendor like GPTfy or Salesforce. This knowledge is going to come from your internal organization, right? Your salespeople, your sales operations, your internal people will know the nuances of sales to figure out how can we do this better? How can our people do better? So now you've got me, the new sales rep. I have no idea. And you're like, hey, go deal with this thing or go talk to this customer or follow up on these deals. Today, your manager is going to spend a couple of hours coaching me and telling me, hey, don't do this, do that. With AI, you can reduce that. You still want that human touch and coaching and all of that. But, the proverbial dot the I's and cross the T's, this is letting you do that. So you have a templatized, deal coach, and it's basically doing, hey, look, I looked at your opportunity, you're missing these things, you're not connected at the right level. Here is what the customer is saying. It can crunch through all of this and give you this. So everything I'm going to show you, a lot of them, the magic is not AI. The magic is your internal business logic and your ability to interpret it effectively for AI. And then AI can automate this at scale. So that's really what we're doing. So I know we only have 12 more minutes. If it's okay, I want to show you a few more support related things. All right, so let me show you another interesting demo. This is an Einstein chatbot.
Questions?
Sure.
Sorry, I just have a question. Does the system have audio capability, like maybe listening to prompts and maybe responding, rather than maybe typing or having a code base or a kind of knowledge base of prompts? Can you interact by maybe now or maybe in the near future? Because I believe yesterday OpenAI was kind of doing a kind of new innovation on ChatGPT. So does it have maybe plan for you to talk to something like
Not
that?
right now. I'd love to get that, particularly like I have customers whose users use mobile devices, and it's just hard to type on mobile devices. We've not built that. It's kind of out in the future. Part of it is we are very driven by what our customers want. This is kind of the most recent version of what they want. Support costs. So if you've used Einstein chatbot, one of the challenges there is it's sort of a very rule-based model today, right? You click on something and then you can chat with it, but it's all the inference it's doing, all the intent detection it's doing is based on rules. So it's looking, did you say agent? Did you say representative? Did you say human, right? And it's only looking for that. If you said assistance, and if that's not one of the keywords, it would not know. So the idea is like in this one, this is again Einstein chatbot on a community site. It could also be on a third-party website. But what you could do here is that if I have a chat with this agent now, every response to it is actually going to an LLM and it's coming back from an AI, right? So this is like a higher ed school, and I can say, what is your admissions process, right? And so this response first goes to an LLM, which is connected to what is known as a RAG model, which is indexing all the knowledge. So it may be Salesforce knowledge articles, it may be external third-party knowledge bases, and it's pulling that information back from there, right? And it is again grounded because that is a big concern with chatbot. So if I ask it, how do I buy Bitcoin, right? So it's supposed to not give an answer to that question. And so it's kind of grounded to only the data that you or your customer would provide. So this is an example of where Einstein chatbots are going with AI. This is hooked on to GPTfy. So we are doing a lot of work in this space because what a lot of customers want is, one, chatbot experience today sucks across the board. Nobody likes them. A lot of people don't use them. And two, even if you have a chatbot, people are trying to figure out, how do I get to a real person? How do I get to an agent?
Of course.
Right? So if we are able to reduce this by offering it, then it makes it a lot easier. The other part of it, which I find really interesting more than this, is I'm going to just end this chat here. And actually, I'm going to go into my Salesforce org. So now I'm looking at a Salesforce org. I have this contact. I have fees transaction grade, again, a university type use case. And these are all custom objects. So if I click on this here, and if I click on log on to experience as a user, so I'm going to log in I'm now going to connect as a logged in user. So now communities knows who I am, right? And the interesting part about this is I can actually ask questions specific to my account, right? I can start asking questions like, what are my grades, right? Or how much fees did I pay? And it can respond to that because I'm authenticated. So the point is you can use LLM for beyond like, here is a knowledge article or here is some information. and you can actually make it extremely useful to offset a lot of your support costs. And then for everything that still legitimately needs a human to connect to, AI can then redirect them to that person. So that is the idea here. If I ask it, rates, and the idea is that it's hooked onto my Salesforce, so it's able to pull my grades. Right. So this is very conversational, and it supports multilingual. So if you need it in French, Spanish, whatever language, you can turn that on and offer that kind of support.
And the question here is, this is Nash. What is limitation on how much data you can send in one prompt? Let's see, I have a customer that has 10 years of history, many records is around account related. Where I'm going to hit the limit?
So two things on this. It's a great question. On one part of this is generative AI is something you're trying to use to make sense of unstructured data. So you want to, and second is, you can send as much as you like. It's going to cost you money, right? Today, I think what Google Gemini has 1 million token context. That I think is, 150 pages of data, I think. Sorry, my 1 million token is 1 million words. So you can send 1 million words, right? Roughly. So again, it's a question of how much information you want to send. The place where we run into scalability problems is Salesforce doesn't allow you to, like Apex is 10 megabyte Apex limit. So a good rule of thumb is we are not sending more than 10 megabytes of data. But frankly, if it's plain text data, that's an incredibly large amount of data that you can send. Most use cases that I am dealing with customers, including very large customers in financial services, education, stuff like that, nobody's actually sending a huge amount of data. Like, the account 360 I was showing you, that's very typical of a real world customer. You have an opportunity, maybe you have 5-8 activities on it, a couple of emails on it, some stuff like that. But that's kind of what you're looking at. So anyways, so I wanted to show you one more thing very, very quickly on this. So I'm going to confirm this in chat. I'll close this chat here. Then I go back to, my org here. So what you will see is that I have all these chat transcripts, right? Which is out of box. Salesforce Einstein chatbot generates chat transcripts. But what is interesting is because, GPTfy is running in Salesforce, we can automatically do analysis of the transcript and we can say what was the sentiment. It's neutral, negative, positive. Because if someone came in there, logged in user, they had a negative sentiment, you may want to reach out to them. You're like, hey, what happened? I heard you were having some problems. How can we help? Right? It's also giving you a summary of this, like what was the conversation. So this is a very simple conversation, but if you have very long, elaborate conversation, you can get summaries. We are working on doing keyword isolation. So you can get specific keywords that you can use in marketing. Because Saurabh logged in and Saurabh searched 5 times or chatted with a bot 5 times asking about visa to come and study in Canada. Well, that is his number one concern. You cannot address that. So basically, it lets you get more out of the data that you already have, but you're probably not able to today at scale. Excuse me. Excuse me. So that's the idea. Wow, I think I've some allergy. My apologies. Excuse me. Sorry. So that's kind of what we are doing here. I know we are almost at time. We are doing a lot of case routing, case resolution, integration with all of that. But in the interest of time, I'm going to kind of skip that. Very quickly, 2 things I would want to kind of talk about is one is on LinkedIn, we have a group that you can join. We post a lot of stuff there, a lot of recordings and things like that. This obviously you have recording of this, but we do a lot of webinar. If particularly, I think we are doing one on case deflection, in a few weeks. If you are doing something with support and Service Cloud, then definitely look us up and join that. My name is Saurabh. I'm on LinkedIn, very active. So please do connect with me if you like. And we have a website, GPTfy.ai. Every demo that I can show you, or I think most of them, are all here. So if you need, you can come here, you can look at them, and most are like 2-3 minutes. So we are very like demo heavy company. We want you to see everything and not see too many slides. So all of that is here. We have a bunch of PDFs on some of the use cases for Sales Cloud, Service Cloud, Health, Financial, FSC. There's some like white paper on data security, future of AI, things like that, some ROI stuff. So there's a bunch of things, regardless of whose AI you use, whose you buy. There's some stuff that you can hopefully look at and maybe get some value out of. We do everything we do as a product is all fairly well documented. If you have questions, you can reach out to me, obviously. But our entire knowledge base is online and it's publicly available. And we blog quite a bit about some of these things. So if you wanted to understand more about like the deal coach that we were looking at, email to case, some of the things there, a lot of bring your own model, trust layer, prompt writing. I think someone was asking about that, customer life cycle, a whole bunch of things that we talk about is all here. So frankly, there's a lot of resources if you wanted to come up to speed and see, what you can do and how you can utilize some of the Salesforce related AI technologies. We are on AppExchange, so you can look us up. We are here. And we are a very transparent company. The pricing for our product is $15 and $25, depending on the edition, things like that. And that's for your internal users only. And, so that's really us. Any questions, comments?
Yeah, I do have one question. My name is Shivam. I joined a little late, 10-15 minutes. So I'm not sure if you covered this. I want to know this solution is alternative to Einstein 1 Studio or it is built on top of it?
No, it's not built on top of it. Yes, it's an alternative.
Okay.
Yeah. The one thing we don't do is we don't generate Apex. We are only what's the right word here? We are only Salesforce core platform. So we don't run on Marketing Cloud. We don't run on Commerce Cloud, any of that stuff. We are 100% Salesforce native. So we'll run on Sales Cloud, Service Cloud, Education Cloud, Health Cloud, FSC, all the industry clouds, all of that. Yeah, those would be different. And we are a bring your own model. So we don't have an AI to sell you. You get your AI. We'll help you get it from one of the vendors. Our team will help you set it up, provision it, but then you're paying as you go on the AI front. Those are kind of the key differences from us, between us and some of the other options on the marketplace. So
quick question. Hi, it's Megan. Do you have a minimum number of users required for purchasing the licenses, or like if only 5 users need it, or is there a minimum amount of users?
Yeah, we have a minimum pricing of $25,000.
Okay, thank you.
Of course.
So,
Shivam, I think something you were asking earlier. Did I answer that question too?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Sorry, another question?
yeah, this is you. Quick question about the result when you're running the prompt. You mentioned that those results are not in Salesforce. So are these safe?
They are in Salesforce.
They just run on the fly, and the next time you come back, they will be cleared, and you have to rerun the prompt to get the result.
No. This is user specific.
Yeah.
So if you log back in on this, you will see this. You will see all the, like in this case, see 50 of 50. So I can keep going back.
Oh, those are history. So basically, it's all logged.
No, it's all here in your Salesforce.
Okay.
You can look at them.
Okay.
And we do support data retention. So if you wanted to, like, if you have policies and you go, hey, I don't want to keep it, I wanted to get rid of it in 15 days, 20 days, 0 days, whatever.
Yeah.
You can do that. Sorry, I went wrong. Yeah, we support all of that. So yeah, I didn't show you this. We have a whole cockpit. We do like a lot of very sophisticated things, in this space. So like in here, I have a 1-day data retention enforced. Actually, it's not active around, but if it was, it would just wipe out all my results like on a daily basis. So you can set it up org-wide. How long do you want these results to hang around? And it'll run and do whatever you want it to do.
Okay, thank you.
Of course. Any other questions?
I think that's all. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. And please do reach out to me if you have any other questions.
Thank you so much. Very interesting product. Yeah.
Good.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yep. Bye.
Bye. Let me pause.
Okay. Hello, everyone, and thanks for inviting me today on this user group. My name is Cédric. I'm from Avonni. I'm the customer success manager at Avonni. We are based in Montreal, by the way, so we are almost close. I used to go to Ottawa a few times already doing some Salesforce implementation, so that's really great for me to be with you today. And I will demo you Avonni. So as I said, my name is Cédric, Vergé, Customer Success Manager at Avonni. I have 12 years of experience within the Salesforce ecosystem. Before joining Avonni and starting Avonni, I was a Salesforce consultant, so I am familiar with Salesforce. I know how Salesforce works and how an implementation project is also working. So I have a lot of experience with Salesforce. Today, I'm going to show you, and that's what I have on the agenda, what we will cover today. So first of all, I will do a quick introduction about Avonni. What is Avonni? What do we do? I will also discuss about the Avonni components. So the Avonni components app presentation, which is a managed package available on the AppExchange. And to do my presentation, I will showcase a few examples of what you can do with the Avonni components. And the best way to show you that live would be to do a live demo from scratch. So more about Avonni. So Avonni, we are a Salesforce ISV partner since 2017. And our mission is really to enhance the Salesforce user experience. We started Avonni in 2017 with a prototyping tool. So we still have this Avonni Designer prototyping tool. This is what you can see on the animation on the right. It's a dedicated Salesforce prototyping tool that's helping you to create any or build any proof of concept you like to have on Salesforce before working on the real implementation. So that's giving you access to a wireframing tool where you can create a mock-up of a page, of a Lightning Web component. You can also get the code generated. That's our first solution. That's not what I'm going to show you today. I'm going to discuss and talk and also demo about the Avonni component app, which is a managed package of what I like to call them, it's building blocks. So you will get access to a set of 60 UI components like building blocks you can use right inside Salesforce. And that's what I'm going to show you just in a few minutes. Before diving right into the solution, I'd like to discuss a little bit about the challenges, especially for Salesforce admins, because the Avonni components application, it's mainly an application, a tool for Salesforce admin. So I just some of the bottlenecks regarding the configuration and the customization. The first one, it's really time-consuming manual configuration, because I know as a Salesforce admin, you have a lot of things to manage, like creating pages, creating fields, building flows, building processes. And you also often get stuck doing some repetitive tasks, like, I don't know, creating menus, fixes some mistake for users, dealing with permission set. And with all of that, you don't have a lot of time to work on important projects that might help users. The other and second bottleneck, it's limited customization choice. As you know, Salesforce have a lot of things you can configure, a lot of ways you can configure, for example, a page layout, for example, an application. And sometimes the basic tools from Salesforce are not, enough. You might need some customization. And for that, most of the time, you need to dive into custom code, which is not a task for Salesforce admin. So you need to work also with developers about that. And this can be frustrating, slow, especially if you're not a coding expert. Next one, it's really balancing between user needs and also making sure you can really have all the priorities aligned, especially if you have users that are requesting new features, how you can prioritize those new features and how you can deliver those new features, especially if you have to deal with custom code. And finally, maintaining data quality and security, it's more about admin stuff if you like to manage data, because data is really the art of Salesforce, and you need to make sure that everything is correct, is organized, is also secure. So you have to set up rules, checks, processes, flows, permission, and that's really all the things an admin can do and have to deal with, which is now give me to my next slide presentation regarding, the Avonni component application, the solution we provide mostly for Salesforce admins. So it's a managed package of pre-built component. And within that managed package, you have access to 65 now UI component you can use right inside Salesforce to create any type of custom solution with no code. So you can think about those UI component like, to me, it's like building blocks. Let's say you have access to a set of Legos, and with those Legos, you can create anything you want by simply mix and matching some bricks together, like a data table, a Kanban, a progress indicator. We have a bunch of components available where you can create custom solution with no code. So that's giving you the power, basically the same power as a developer. And I will show you a live demo in a few minutes regarding that, because I can talk a lot about the product itself, but as I said, a demo worth 1,000 words. That's really the best way to show you that. Let me give you an example. You can see this example on the screen, my opportunities. That's really an animation I created, and it took me 30 minutes to build that entire custom solution. But what you didn't notice, it's this example, it's only one screen flow. It doesn't look like a screen flow at all, but it is a screen flow. It looks completely custom, and I built that with no code using a bunch of Avonni components to really enhance data visualization in Salesforce, using a map, using a Kanban, using a data table, for example, using even a calendar. So you can mix and match those building blocks to create the solution you want. Let me show you a demo, because that's really the main focus of my presentation. It's really to make sure you can fully understand what you can build with that. And I will create a demo from scratch. So as I said, the Avonni component application available on the AppExchange is a set of building blocks you can use inside Flow Builder, and you can also use them inside Experience Cloud site to enhance an Experience Cloud site with 40 building blocks you can use inside the site. So let's create from scratch a new screen flow, and I will show you how this works. So I'm using Flow Builder. You're already familiar with that. Let's create a new screen flow. And here on my example, I'd like to create a screen flow that will display a list of opportunities using a data table and making this data table reactive with a calendar component. So basically, I want to be able to select an opportunity and instantly being able to see related event to that opportunity that are linked to each opportunity I'm selecting on the data table. So I will create a screen element. I will start with a screen element, screen, and I will configure. I don't want to display a header and a footer. So it will be like a custom Lightning Web component. When you install the Avonni Components Managed package, you will see right there into Flow Builder your Avonni building blocks. You get access to 66 building blocks we built from scratch, where you can use those to create your solution. So you can find a chart, you can find a CSV parser component, button group, biometrics component, barcode. We have data table, calendar, pretty much every possible use case, a map solution, a list, a Kanban. I will not dive into all of them, but that's really to show you what kind of components you can use. Now, what you can do with those. Let's drag a section, because I like to create for my custom solution a section of 2 columns. And then I will drag a data table. I will not use the standard data table from Salesforce because it's not advanced as the as the one I like to use. So I will use the Avonni data table right there. So let's enter an API name. And we did that for every Avonni component. We build what we call a component builder. When you're pressing this button, you get access to this view where you can live build your data table on the fly. So you get access to properties on the right side. And the first thing I'm going to customize, I like to link the data source. So I like to connect my Salesforce data with the data table component. And for that, I will not use the variable. So you have various data source available, manual, if you like to create your data table manually, variable, if you're using a get records collection, for example, or query. You can even create your own query from the component itself. So let's say I like to fetch information from the opportunity object. And because I selected the opportunity object, I have access to all the fields related to that object. So that's easy for me to drag and drop a field to build my data table. So let's drag the name. Let's drag the account ID to build a list of this. Let's say I'd like to drag the amount. Now, probability, and finally stage. And I can get a live preview of the data table I'm building. And here on the data mapping section, I have all my columns. So I can click on the name column and I can adjust the settings. If I want to make this column editable, featureable, searchable, hidden, you have all the possible options. Let's say I like to create a link directly to the record page. I will use Linkify to Linkify this, save. The same for the account ID. I like to Linkify to create a link to the related account page. We have the amount, probability. Let's say for the probability, instead of displaying, only text or person field, you can enhance the data visualization from the data table itself. So I like to display the probability using a progress bar. And I want to say, I like to use thickness small, show value of my progress bar, save. And now it's visually more appealing. The same, I can click on the stage name, and instead of displaying the stage using text, I can say, I like to display the stage using a badge. And for the color of the badge, I'd like to dynamically change the color of the badge based on a formula value. So it's like field name, badge color, because I already created a formula field. So save. I will just click done and reopen this to see a live preview. Now you can see a live preview of the data table. So just in minutes, I built my data table and I was also able to enhance data visualization. Next, for my use case, I like to set the max row selection to 1. Why? Because I want to replace checkboxes with radio button. Perfect. And you can even, in one click, click on column settings, all column settings. And let's say you'd like to have a search engine. You can make all columns searchable, featureable, editable, because we support inline editing and mass update on the data table. Excuse me?
People like it.
Thank you. So now let's customize the header section. Let's add the title, all opportunities. Right there. Okay, all opportunities. Let's say opportunity list. Let's add an icon. Right there. Perfect. Now we can fine tune this. If you want, you can even add a column. Let's say I'd like to create a new column. And this column will be like action to be able to create a raw action. So I can say edit right there. Let's say maybe change owner. And you can specify the action you want, save. I will just reopen the component builder to see the raw action just added live, and you can see the option. So you can really make your data table fully functional from there only by configuring visual aspects of the data table. Let's say on the header, I like to add a new button to be able to create a new opportunity. So I will just create new as an action on the header section. Now I have this new button available. But this button is not functional. I need to make this button functional. And that's where the interaction tab, right, you can see right there, is extremely useful. So you can create interaction. Basically, it's like setting up triggers, but without coding them. So let's say header action, target name, it's the new button. And what kind of interaction I like to set up. And you have various types of interactions available. For example, new, I like to use the navigate interaction to navigate where on my Salesforce? To the object page. Which object? The opportunity object, because I'm using the opportunity object. Action name, new. You can even pre-fill value if you want, save. Just in one click, I make this button function. You will see it live once I will deploy the flow. The same, you have the save interaction. So basically, if you're using inline editing, you can say add save, I'd like to update records. So basically, the information will save by pressing the save button. That's it. And you can fine tune the look and feel of the data table. You can activate infinite scrolling right there. Pull to boundary, you can say left and right to avoid having unnecessary margin. And finally, you still have access to the styling editor to customize styling hooks for the data table. Let's say you'd like to change the background color of the header. You can change that. Let's say you'd like to change the font size. Everything is fully customizable within the style of the component. So that's pretty much done. I just configured my data table in a few minutes with just a few clicks. Let's click done. So I configured the first part of my demo, building a data table on the left side. Before working on the right side, I will create a formula variable because I will need to set up a formula variable to dynamically dynamically filter the opportunity by the ID of the opportunity selected on my data table. So here, new resource, I will just create a formula text. Let's name it opportunity filter. And let's type the formula. So it's basically, it's like the formula filter. It's like if you're using a SQL query, I'm dynamically changing the where on my query. So here, that's the formula I'm using right there. So here, so it's a what ID, then it's equal. And here I will just, okay, I will just take the resource from the data table, first selected row, and I'd like to populate that with the selected row of the opportunity ID. Check syntax, it's valid, perfect. So I just need to create this formula and you will understand why in a few minutes. Let's get back to the screen component. So we did the Avonni data table. Now, for my use case, I'd like to display related event from the opportunity selected on the data table. So for that, I will use the Avonni calendar component right there. Let's name it calendar. It works exactly the same way as the data table. You can open the component builder. You get a component preview of the calendar. You can say, and everything is configurable. Let's say I like to display week. I like to connect the data source, so I will do a query. I'd like to display event information, so I will query the event object. But I don't want to display all the event. I really want to display only the event filtered by the dynamic formula I created. So I will select map and map the filter by the formula I just created before. And then I need to map to do the data mapping for the calendar. So basically, I need to map the attributes from the calendar to the corresponding field from the event object. For example, for the title, I like to use the subject field. Resource name, it will be assigned to ID, and then I can configure the resource. So let's say calendar name. Then I will use the start date time field to end date time field. You can even customize the color, the theme, filters. Okay, let's play with the header. Let's say demo Avonni. Right there. And let's say Okay, let's do an icon right there. Activating field scrolling. We can maybe already see what's the result. Let's see if that's working or not. So done, I will just save the flow. Okay, and I will activate the flow. Because it's a flow, I can add this flow anywhere on my Salesforce, on a record page, on an app page, on an home page, even on the Experience Cloud site. So let's say I am on an app page. I will go on edit page to open the app builder. Let's drag the flow component. And I will just link to the flow I created, demo user group. It's right there. Save. So let's see the result so far. Let's get back to the page. Okay. Now I can see the data table. It's working fine. Let's select an item right there. And because I'm doing a demo, I did a lot of demos today. And yes, I got an error message. Why? I don't know. But that's why I like to show you that live, because let's figure out what's the error looks like on the calendar. What? Maybe it's the opportunity filter. Seems to be correct.
That's supposed to be
No, that's not the what. It's the what ID. Yeah. It's when you're doing live, it's under pressure, you're making mistake. Okay, let's refresh the component now.
Do I win a prize?
Should be. So now I can select an item, like let's select an opportunity, and you can see the information is updating live on the calendar, which is extremely great. So it's dynamic based on the selection I made on the component. So I have a data table that is communicating live with another component, with the calendar component. You can even fine tune with resources. You can see colors based on resources. I mean, we can even fine tune this, especially on the calendar. Let's say we like to enhance the calendar once again. New event, let's say we like to add on the header, okay, action. I like to being able to create a new event. So I have this new event button. Now, like what we do on the data table, we can go on interaction, toolbar. Let's say on this interaction, oh, my computer is slow. Why? New event. What I'd like to do, I'd like to open another flow. So I will use the open flow dialog interaction. And let's say a new event demo, that's the flow I'm looking to launch. So I will launch another flow using a model box. Let's set a size to medium. And what is extremely interesting is that I can define interaction when this flow, this new event demo flow is finished. So I can say on finish, I'd like you to refresh the query on the calendar. So the calendar will be automatically refreshed to add the new data. And I can say add a new item, show a toast message. Let's say event created. Thank you. Display success. Close. Okay, save. Let's save that once again. Finger crossed, not to have any error. So now let's do a live test. Okay, let's say I'm selecting this opportunity right there, 500. Let's click on new event. It's launching the flow. Let's say demo Ottawa user group. Related to this opportunity, Salesforce.com 5,000 widget. Let's book a demo today at, let's say, 5 p.m. Let's save. Got notification, and the demo is created right on the calendar. So you can see using a bunch of building blocks, Avonni components with interaction, with no code, I was able in maybe 20 minutes to create a fully working custom solution only with clicks. Even on the data table, I can update information. In editing, save, it will automatically save the information right there.
Can you select multiple rows?
Yes, not for this, but let's say that's a good question. Let's get back here. I just need to make a change on the data table. I just need to remove the max row selection to be able to select multiple rows and activate this. Okay, so now I should have checkboxes. Let's say, okay, why not? Why not? Oh, maybe I missed to click somewhere. Okay, save. Okay, let's refresh the page. Now I should be able to select multiple items or not. Why? Maybe I found the bug. Maybe I found the bug. But normally, yes, you should be able to select multiple items and do like a mass update. There's definitely something wrong with it, especially when you have an excellent question like yours. But that's possible. Maybe I have another demo to show you that capability in action, but you can do select multiple items right there. Let's say you'd like to change or even change maybe the close date.
Oh.
Here, save, it will automatically save all the information. So you can even select all items and you can do mass update to all items. I will not do that for this, but technically that's possible. Apply and you're done.
So quick question. So this data table right now you build is acting like a lightning record page.
Excuse me?
So the data table looks like right now you're building, right? It's acting as a lightning record page here.
Yeah. But,
So it's
I mean,
it's always showing up like when you go to this tab, this.
Yes, it's always showing up because I added this screen flow. It's a flow on the back end. I added this flow as on the page because it's an app page. But let's say you'd like to go on the record page and you'd like to add the exact same flow, you can do that as well.
So you can inject it into any any record page.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. You can create custom solution on any record page. You can see this one. This is a flow using the Avonni test, save, and it will automatically save and update the information. That's a flow. Recording, that's a flow. I can even record my recording right there and save the information.
Okay. Another quick question is like right now you demo here. So does this tool, I believe, is support like configuration in Sandbox and
Fox Drive, Marsh Road, Ottawa.
in Sandbox or Scratch-Out, correct?
Yes, yes, yes. You can install the package. I mean, on the AppExchange. Let me show you the. Oh, that's my Zoom bar. Okay. We have. So if you're typing Avonni on the AppExchange, this is how you can install the package. If you like to use this on a Sandbox or on a DevOps, it's free to use. There is no cost.
Oh,
it's free. It's free to use for unlimited number of users.
Okay.
You won't pay anything for a Sandbox. So if you'd like to give it a try today and play with the 60 UI component, you can do it for free on your Sandbox. And even on production.org, you get 10 free licenses. So even for users, because you will need a license for anyone not that that needs to interact with the flow inside a page or inside, for example, a site. But you get 10 free license for production org, and it's free to use on sandboxes.
Okay, thank you.
Can the data table pull in fields from related objects?
Yes. I mean, what do you mean related object? Let's say
So
here.
the account name, well, not the
Like-
account name, but some fields from within the account.
Let's say, okay, or maybe contact.
Contact, that's good.
Maybe contact. Let's say you'd like to display the full name. And are you looking to say, oh, I'd like to display from the account ID, show me the account industry from this account, from this contact? Yes, that's possible.
Like the email?
So here you can see account.id industry,
Yeah, the contact email.
contact email, yes.
You sell it already?
Just if I have to get rid of another product, then I can use this one. Maybe.
So yes, you can display a child relationship as well on the data table. So we have lookup and you can display that on the data table. What I like the most about the data table, it's how you can customize the data table with header, with row action, with inline editing capabilities, and also having the styling hooks for the data table.
Can you be a little bit louder?
Excuse me?
Can you speak louder?
You want me to speak louder?
Yeah, yeah. It sounds a little bit, yeah, quite. Yeah.
Maybe my mic is not, it's
Oh,
close to me, but
now it's good. Yeah.
okay, let's do it again. Is it better now? Sorry about that.
No problem.
If you save this, what do you see now on the main, your demo page?
Do you have any other question, or maybe you'd like to see other use cases?
Well, the data table, I didn't see yet where you showed the
email.
the email and the
Industry?
The industry. So the email, let's say, I need to query the contact object, and let's say email, full name. But let's say you also like to display information from the account that are attached to those contacts. So you can say @, show me from the account, let's say account type, for example. So you can display related information. And you can even, let's get back to my example with the opportunities. You can even, right there, use a group by. So we have a group by attribute. Let's say we like to group by stage. So you will have a data table like this. I will save the flow once again. And now so you can see the data table right there. I will refresh the page and you will see all the opportunities grouped by a specific field, which is stage on that example. So it's like having multiple data tables into one data table, grouped by stage.
where's the contact information on this table?
Oh, it's not there because I didn't save my last changes. You want to display contact information on that data table?
Yes.
Okay. Let me see if I can do something. Contact information @. So opportunity, contact ID, full name.
Email.
Or email, yes, sorry. Contact ID, email. Okay, let's refresh the data table now. I hope to have some data on the email. I love your questions. No, I don't know why. Maybe it's because I'm the group by. Yeah, I know why. I will just remove the group by. No, no. Why it's not? It's because of the email. So I should be able to display the email, but
Live demo.
Thanks, you blew it.
Put it through.
You have good questions. No, I just need. That's why I love doing live demos because but technically you should be able to display the email. I need now to know why after the call. Check that internally because if that's a bug, we will fix that. Technically, that's possible because on the opportunity, it's linked to a contact, so I should be able to display the email information.
Cédric, may I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Yes.
Yes.
Is it possible that instead of the calendar or the events to display a total? For example, running a query on the right-hand side, displaying the total of my opportunities that are open with certain amount.
Mm-hmm.
Do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love your questions. Yes, absolutely.
Oh, it is
Let
possible?
me show you. Yes, it's possible.
And
let me show you.
Before
Let
you
me
go
show
there.
you.
Okay.
Yes. Go ahead.
The other question is, because you don't have to demo it. If you say yes, I believe you, no? Is it possible to put a hyperlink to a report if we wanted to display like totals and subtotals in a report that is a little bit more information than the simple table, or the table on the left, can we put like totals or invent like a formula field or a bucket field that displays data? Is that
displaying
like what you do on reports, but on that magical table you have there?
Displaying a formula, that's possible if that's a field, yes. So you could be able to do that. Now creating a link to a report or a dashboard, I'm not sure about this one because let me check real quick with you if I'm doing navigate. Again, I don't have the ability to navigate to a specific dashboard or record page, not dashboard or report page. Because Salesforce doesn't provide us this kind of information when we create the interaction to navigate somewhere on Salesforce.
That's okay.
But displaying a formula, yes. And regarding the total information, I will just do a quick demo right there. You can use the Avonni metric component to fulfill what you need. Let's say metric, and let's open the component builder. And let's say, so you can create your metric component, but let's say, okay, opportunity pipeline value. And instead of displaying the value manually, what you can do, you can click here, do a query, and create your own query. We're doing a query on the opportunity object regarding the amount, and I want to aggregate function, do a sum. And it will automatically calculate real data based on the query.
Beautiful.
You can even filter that add condition by close date literal for the last week, last year, next quarter. You can specify really the date literal regarding, let's say, this year, for example. It will automatically update the information.
Beautiful. Last question, is it possible to pull this component into a Omni Studio Flexi page?
No, it's not possible because it's a flow. It's not a component you can use inside Omni Studio. But basically, this solution is giving you the same flexibility as Omni Studio.
Yes,
but
exactly.
It's less hard to learn. You know.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
You got a customer.
Love to. I mean, as I said, we are on the AppExchange. You can use it for free on the sandbox, on production or with 10 license. So feel free to test out the application. We also have, I don't know if you have some needs for Experience Cloud Site, but we also provide components for Experience Cloud Site, part of the same package. So do you want to see them in action quickly?
Yes.
I can show you this very quick. Let's say, okay. That's really a playground website I built using the bunch of Avonni components. So the exact same way when you click on component, yes, you can add a flow to embed the flow, but you also get access to the Avonni component for Experience Cloud Site. Let's take the calendar, for example. You can configure the calendar the way you want without having to run a flow, and it's fully functional for Experience Cloud Site. It works exactly the same way. You can use a data table. Let's say I'm dragging a data table right there, and I can fully configure a data table on my site without diving into a flow customization. So we built like 40, 45 UI components for Experience Cloud Site. Let's say data table. Let's do a query on the account object.
And
let's create the core.
Site user is free, is this correct?
Excuse me?
License for site user, for community user, it's free?
No, it's not free, unfortunately. I mean, you can test it for free on a sandbox. That's possible, but then we have a specific dedicated pricing for Experience Cloud users. Again, we need to match with the requirement. How many users do you have? We have specific pricing for that to make sure it makes sense.
Thank you.
But you can see I can live build my custom data table right there. I don't know if I have another example to show you on this. That's really a fun example. On the Experience Cloud site. Maybe on the list. I have so many pages, but no. I'd like to show you something which is really cool on this, but
Sorry to interrupt you, 15 minutes.
We're just gonna have to get you to come back.
okay. But I mean, I don't want to take too much time on this, and I want to make sure to answer your question. So let me know if you have any other questions.
How much is the component, the previous one you showed? Like launch it in production, like how do you charge the cost? Because you said 10.
Is this Toastmaster?
Yes.
10
That's a good
afterwards.
Yes. That's a good question. So afterwards, we have pricing plans based on the number of users into the org. So 50, 250, 500, and more than 500. But that's really our listing price. We have more dedicated pricing, especially if you have needs with a lot of platform users, it will not be the same price because we want to make sure that the pricing is really matching your needs, your structure. So if you have any custom user structure, feel free to let us know and I will be able to give you more accurate pricing. But that's really our listing price. We also offer 50% discount for nonprofit and for educational organization. But that's really our pricing works.
I got a question on your pricing. I just say per org per month. So it's not by the number of users, it's just by the org itself.
Yeah, it's by the org, but you have up to 500 or 250, more than 500 users. Why? Because when you go on the package settings right there, let me show you package manager, Insta package, you can manage license. So you would see that 10 license, manage license. So yes, it's per org, but you get a bunch of licenses you can assign to users.
I
That's what
think license means like the user, they can configure, they can use the tool, right? It's not the user who can see the page, the data.
no, it's really the users that can see the page. So you need a license for every user that needs to interact with the Avonni component. Let's say I am on that page.
It'll be granted to a permission set, no?
Yeah.
And yes, absolutely. So you can manage that, and we have also permission set.
Okay, good to know.
Cédric, have you really tested this in live? 1,500 users drilling on that component of the query, you have an opportunity. Have you had issues of performance with Salesforce?
No, we don't. We have a user that is using, for example, a data table using a query to display 300,000 of records, and it's working perfectly fine.
What do you mean data table?
Data table, it's this one. The data table, this one. That's the data table.
Oh, yeah, okay, so of the
Yes.
component, but so you haven't, and this refreshes on the fly, right, I guess?
Yes, it's refreshing on the fly.
And there's no
because
issues with that?
no, there is no performance issue.
How
When you
how
use
often is the refresh?
for the refresh, it's when you scroll down, it will automatically refresh. It's like infinite scrolling. So we are doing the refresh. Let me show you. I don't know if I can show you. We just we move this on the data table. We have an issue. Maybe I need to save that. But it's doing the refresh on the fly. So let's say.
So no complaints. And how many users have used this live? Like, what is the max number of users of a customer you've had using this?
So we have a customer that is using this product for their 4,000 users.
Okay.
So the
That's
entire
good.
organization that is using the Avonni components.
So
And
it's
for
really-
them, yeah.
I don't want to put in my.
I mean, for them, that's a huge time saving and cost saving because they don't have to deal with developers anymore. Or maybe for really specific use cases. But I would say like 80% of the use case can be fulfilled with that.
Yeah.
Especially it's very compatible with Omni Studio.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
it's
exactly.
Yeah.
Like we're building all of that with Omni Studio
Omni-
right now, but we're having performance issues.
Exactly.
And Salesforce has to expand.
Yep.
the-
And also Omni Studio is not that mature enough right now. It's not
No.
fully integrated.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
I may come back to my company offering this option.
So
I
that's what
mean,
user group.
if you'd like to have like this kind of component, that's a Kanban component. That's part of the same library where you can display a list of anything because you can link that component to any standard or custom object to automatically update the information by doing drag and drop. You don't have this kind of component into Omni Studio. The same, let's say you like to use a map to display related information on the map, customize the map marker, you can do that. Using a timeline, that's another example. That's using the Avonni timeline.
Yes. Okay, we have 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's okay. That's all the examples of the Avonni components, like charts. It's a flow, like the video component.
So how long does a brand new customer come in, before they are able to put something in production? Is this like a couple of days, a couple of weeks, a couple of months?
It's really depending of their use case. I would say that they can really build a custom solution within the same day, but they need, of course, there is like a small learning curves about how the tool works, how the component builder works, and also information about what kind of components you can use. So typically we can see a rollout from testing into sandbox to production between 2 to 3 months, because they are not testing all day long the Avonni components. They are doing other stuff. and they need to make sure they can find use cases, they can build the use cases, they can test the use cases, they can also, deploy that to a selected users to get their feedback. But it's free to use in a sandbox. So if you'd like to build your use case, take your time with those, and those are already there.
Now we know what Linda is going to do over the weekend.
Yeah. I don't know over the weekend, but yes.
Until midnight every day.
But we also have a documentation website. So if you'd like to learn more about the components available, quick start guide, explore the component, everything is there. You can view all the components and let's say, okay, how can I configure the biometrics component, or how can I configure the calendar component?
How often you are updating the package?
Usually it's once a month or month and a half. So we have a release note website right there. We just published a new version last week, and that's all the updates so far we did from the last year.
And from managing the org wise, like how much effort to updating them, Like,
updating those components, that's seamless. You're just updating the package and it's working on your side.
okay. So it's just like pushing into there, or we?
Yes, you just need to push this to the org with a new version of the updated package. Because we do a lot of tests before releasing the package to make sure that nothing will break.
Mhm.
And we also have dedicated users or customers that are live testing pre-release version of the package. So we can make changes and fix bugs if needed.
Great, thank you.
Now you can go and sell this to Salesforce and replace only Studio.
You know what? They're already aware about our application because we are working with a lot of Salesforce solution engineers that are using the Avonni components for their own demos. Because on their side, if they want to create custom solution, it takes a lot of time and they don't have a lot of developers to build those demos. So they can use our components for free to build demos for their customers.
You should definitely be charging those guys.
And we don't charge Salesforce for that because basically they are helping us to promote the solution.
That's awesome. Yeah. Any other questions?
So who's in the background online? It's just the three?
It's just
Online, you mean?
Yeah, online.
I don't.
Tyler?
Yeah.
Just the three people?
Yeah, some people already left. A lot of people left already.
what is it, chat? Chat.
Okay.
That's great.
Let me see. Where chat?
So you guys are based in
Right
Montreal?
side, right side.
Yes, we are all based in Montreal. We are working on this product for now.
To get you to come back.
Excuse me?
I said, we'll get you to come back again for another session.
I would love to. I mean, anytime.
Okay, I think, yeah.
If you like to try our pizza here, we have good connections. I
I love pizzas. I mean, I would love to. And it's not so far away from Montreal. So, I mean, keep me posted on that. And I would love to do maybe even a live demo on your next user group and discuss about your needs.
Okay. Thank you
Thanks so
so
much.
much.
Yay.
Yeah.
You're welcome. Thank you very much. Thank you
Excellent
very much,
talk.
everyone.
My goodness. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Yeah, bye.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. Have a
Yeah.
good one. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
So you found this guy or?
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
Wow, that's very good, my friend.